The SP202 is something that doesn't really get featured too much on this channel, and that's really because there isn't an awful lot to talk about with this one. It's a very primitive machine and there's not many videos I can really make about it because it just does what it does and that's it. That being said though, I've been struggling a little bit with this device recently, thinking that I might actually sell it, and I'm in two minds really. A lot of this has been brought on by the purchase of the Roland MS1, which is a very similar sampler. It actually is the starting point of the SP series, so it was the one device before this, and that allows you to use sample grades as through effects. Now they're not quite as nice sounding, but because it saves you so much time, I started using that a lot more than the SP202. Recently I was on YouTube and kind of got into a little SP202 hole with the content that I was watching, and it really started to rekindle my love for this device. So today I thought I'd make a video of 5 things to love about the SP202. Just quickly before I get started guys, don't forget to check out all my links in the description and visit spvids.com. I sell beat packs, merch and accessories, and all the sales there greatly help me to keep making videos and generally live my life. So if you could go and check those links out, I would really appreciate it. Okay, on with the video. So let's get to point number 1. And I think we just have to talk about this really. It's the form factor of this device and the overall styling. I think it looks absolutely incredible. You know, there's a certain symmetry to this device with the 2 dials at the top, the 6 buttons at the top in the middle. Apart from the decals, there is a certain symmetry to this device which I really like. I love the kind of retro styling of it. It feels very sort of 60s, almost 70s, even though this device isn't that old. The kind of reddy orange and black is a really nice combination, and the old-fashioned display and the way that the lights light up, everything about it really, the way it looks is just really cool, and every time this is on the table definitely puts a smile on my face. So I know that's kind of a subjective point for the first one, but generally speaking I think the aesthetic of this device is incredible and it just feels quite nice having it on the table. Okay, the second thing, and you'll hear this a lot about the SP202, it's the sample grades on this device. Now, I did mention about the MS1 being a lot less time consuming, but the sample grades on this device still definitely deserve a mention. We have 4 down the side here: Hi-Fi, Standard, Lo-Fi 1 and Lo-Fi 2. And if you're not familiar with this device or different sample grades, what it allows you to do is actually record in one of these 4 sample grades of your choosing, basically as a way to save memory. The lower the quality that you pick, the less memory it will take up, and you get some magic when you do that. So I've sampled in this one sample here so I can show you guys, and I've done Hi-Fi, Standard and Lo-Fi 1. Now the great thing about this device is you can actually see that the light changes when you choose the selected pad, and it shows you what sample grade you actually sampled in at. I only actually noticed that today. It's quite helpful. So pad 1, Hi-Fi, let's give this a listen. Okay, so that's at the Hi-Fi setting. The next one down, which I tend to use the most actually, is Standard. Now it didn't work particularly well for this sample, but I'll show you how it sounded on this one. So it added a kind of meshy sort of underlayer to that, which I didn't really like, but I've used Standard before on different samples to really good effect. Just doesn't seem to have worked too well on that one. Now the next one, Lo-Fi 1, now this is where the magic comes in. Check out the ring that you get on this. This ring, you used to get it with older samplers, and obviously the SP202 is an older sampler, and this is the reason why you'll hear this called the poor man's SP1200. So check out the sound of this in Lo-Fi 1. How nice does that sound? It just has that ring to it. Really is loads of character in that particular sample grade, and it just sounds really nice. There's no other way to describe it really. It just sounds amazing. So they're most of the sample grades. Lo-Fi 2, it's a bit unusable. It really does degrade the quality quite significantly, so that's why I just showed you those 3. Overall, that's just another reason to love this device, the fact that you get the choice of sampling in at those different grades, and you can get that magic like we heard with Lo-Fi 1 on pad 3. So related to that is the filter, which you can see up here. Now this is a low pass filter, and essentially what that means is it lets low frequencies past, so low pass, and you can take off the highs. So the way that the arm comes down there, you're basically moving that left and right with this dial over on the side here. So with pad 3, now hopefully this sounds good, we can combine it with filter 1. And what we can do is just kind of take out some of that metallic, tinny sound that the Lo-Fi 1 sample grade brings. And I'm probably going to have to boost a lot of these volumes in post because it's coming out very quiet. So depending on how much of that ring you kind of want on your sample, you can use the filter to just slightly tailor that off a bit and make it a bit more pleasant sounding. And on top of that, filter 1 in general just sounds really, really nice. It's just obviously something to do with the circuitry of the SP202 and the way everything's put together. When you use that low pass filter on anything, it just sounds really, really sweet. And I've actually run beats through this device just to use the filter. So the filter, you can actually use that as a through. Unlike the sample grades and the pitching, you can't use those as through effects. You have to record into the device to make use of those. But with filter 1, you can actually use that. And I believe you can use these 3 along the bottom as throughs. So I've just added filter 1 on the end of some of my beats just for that extra bit of lo-fi goodness. It's a really, really nice effect. And again, it's one of the reasons why I love this device. Okay, one more thing that I wanted to mention is the pitch. Now, again, we can't talk about the SP202 without mentioning the pitch. The nice thing is about it, you can't do as much as you can with, say, the SP404 Mark II or MPCs or DAWs. You are limited on how much you can repitch these samples, but that's kind of the beauty of this device, and you can still get some really nice effects. So let's go to pad 3 again, and we can put on pitch as well. It does allow you to do pitch and filter at the same time, but if you have them both on, the dial affects both of them. So I'll just take filter 1 off for now, and we'll get this pitch in nailed down. So it does do a certain percentage each way. I'll leave that on the screen because I can't remember off the top of my head. Wow, how nice does that sound? And then obviously we can go the other way as well. So if you did want to make a slightly more up-tempo beat, you've got the option there of pitching it up or down, so that's quite nice. So let's combine this sample, let's put the pitch right down, and let's get the filter right. Okay, and filter and pitch at the same time. Wow, that is the power of the 202 right there. Being able to treat samples like an effects box and get that sort of sound out of it just sounds absolutely incredible. So one last thing that I wanted to talk about, I can't remember if I said 4 or 5 at the start or even if I mentioned a number at all, but I'll throw in bonus point number 5, and that is just the primitive nature of this device. It's got no sequencer, it's got MIDI in so you can sequence it using a different device, which is something I'd like to try at some point. But on the whole, it really is bare bones, this device. It just gets samples, puts them on the pads, allows you to add a couple of primitive effects that are really, really nice sounding. Obviously it allows a little bit of repitching and the filter. There's not really a lot to it. I think the main points that I've discussed in this video are the main reasons why you would get one of these devices. The different sample grades, the pitch, the filter, and the overall kind of aesthetic of the device, which is just awesome. So yeah, there really isn't a lot to this device, and I just love the stuff like the oversized tap tempo button. Really, really nice. Just 2 dials for the controls. These buttons down here just for controlling the various settings for each individual pad. You've got 1 button for both banks. I can't get to C and D because I don't have a card, but A and B I can switch between just with this 1 button, and it will show you on the screen here. So all in all, it's just a really primitive device, but it's a lot of fun to use, and definitely by doing this video, I'm feeling a bit of love for this device again, and hopefully I can use it on a few more beats in the near future. So let me know guys, do you own an SP202 or would you like to own one? These are a little bit on the expensive side on the used market at the moment, so it might be best to hold off for now and see if they drop over the next couple of years or so, because they seem to have climbed and climbed in price and then managed to maintain their price there. It's a lot of money for what it can do, but I've shown you the sounds there and it does sound pretty magical. thanks again for watching my videos and for all the support with the shop. I really appreciate it. Big shout out to my members, and I'll be back with another video very, very soon.